Hi, I'm Chris with Afflictor Broadheads, and today we're going to talk about our K2 fix. We're going to talk all about it, and I'm going to show you some of its unique capabilities. But first, we're going to talk about some changes we made. So on the K2s, we were shipping some of these out late last season, but this season, from here on, all of the K2s will have the new blades. So what's nice on this new K2 platform, besides the blades and having a little bit more shoulder to angle, we also have replaced that screw at the head to our sex bolt system, which is going to use a Torx 6, a T6 bit. So our K2 has always had a phenomenal reputation for being unique in a couple ways. The first way is the fact that it makes a coring hole, often compared to a 20 gauge slug hole. Through flesh, bone, whatever, it leaves a great big open wound channel. And of course, that leads to its popularity as a fixed blade, because not only is it tough with 59 thousandths thick blades, it also has a wide secondary bleeder blade at 1 inch with these 90-degree shoulders on it as well, which really lends, combined with our tip, to make this giant hole. But it also gives itself a lot of durability. This is one strong, tough broadhead. The other thing about this profile, we have an 1.125" by 1 inch, is it flies great. So if your bow is in tune and your arrow's in tune with your bow, this will fly like a field tip. If you are a high-speed crossbow shooter or any crossbow shooter, this is the cat's meow. We have a lot of the new 500 plus feet per second crossbow users shooting this broadhead and absolutely loving it, not only because it's accurate a long way down range, but of its durability for reuse. Let's face it, most broadheads at close range out of a high-speed crossbow are a one and done. You get a pass through, you get into the dirt and the garbage, and a lot of those broadheads, they need to be flipped out, especially if they're mechanical of sorts. But as far as crossbows are concerned, it's how well they fly. So I'm going to shoot this same K2 fixed through a 55-gallon drum lid and show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to shoot it through 16 gauge diamond plate several times, and we're going to examine the holes, and we're going to look at the broadhead and just kind of give you a good idea of what you can expect out of your K2 fixed. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take this first shot. This is the K2 fixed 100 grain right out of the package, and we're going to shoot this one in the 55-gallon drum lid and then move up from there. We're using 10 points Titan M1 today, and with my hunting arrow setup, I'm shooting right around the 340 range, so just to give you an idea. So I'm going to leave the arrow shaft in here because this is what I want to show you. You can just look at this hole we got right here. I mean, it is an incredible hole. I can stick my pinky right through this hole. What's nice about this K2 fix, it makes such a giant hole that there is absolutely no arrow involvement at all. In fact, the only issue you'll have is if you go all the way down to your fletchings, you'll certainly probably cut one or two of those off. And so we have some target material that of course came out and got trapped in the blade a little bit there. But if you look at those blade edges after the 55-gallon drum, there's nothing. Not a roll, not a nick, not a problem. Alright, this is the same broadhead that we just shot through the 55-gallon drum lid, and we're going to take our first shot on the diamond plate. I always find it best to unscrew it, but while it's in there, let's go ahead and take a peek and see what we got. A little bit of target material on there. Absolutely no damage to the blade. After the 55-gallon drum and this first shot on the plate, there's a tiny nib on the tip that has dulled, but the blades are absolutely perfect, and so are the blades of the tip, if you will. No damage to my bolt because of the size of the hole, but look what we got here. Now, this hole also was a K2 fixed, but we're ignoring this one. So this is the hole we just made. We have absolutely no issue here. You can see it from this side, if you will. We have full clearance, but it's the hole. It's that daylight in that hole right here that just makes this so special. And you can see, again, I can stick my pinky right through it. Tip's the same, edges are the same, blades are perfect. No changes whatsoever. All right, this was shot number 7. I'm going to start spreading these shots out a little bit more. I'm getting a little tight here, and I really don't have a reason to. I don't need to. Got plenty of material. But as I look at that, again, not one single change on those blades at all for shot 7. So I caught the top there, and most importantly, there is not one bit of damage to the blades yet. So we're looking really good there. At this point, you know, if you're doing anything like this and you're using the same bolt over and over again, you really got to check this bolt and make sure that you haven't drugged through any of your material, especially when you're shooting through anything metal or tough. If there's just one thin line in these modern crossbows, you could be asking for trouble. And so far, we've done 8 shots through this and a shot through the 55-gallon drum, and there's not a mark on this bolt. Again, all a testament to the Broadhead making this giant hole. So let's keep going, and hopefully I'll be a better shot. All right, this was shot 12, and this is the first one that would make me really nervous about having possible damage to the bolt, because as you can see, it's just swung like a pendulum on here. But the way that the K2 fix makes that hole, it pops those edges so far out of the way that it should have been doing that on smooth surface. But when I pull this out, we'll look at the Broadhead first, and then we'll go ahead and examine the bolt. 0 blade damage. Looks really good. Let's remove it and check our bolt here. You know, if you look at these up-rolled edges here, they're pretty smooth. Like, my finger doesn't want to get caught on anything. But just to be sure, you know, we're going to really inspect this the whole way up. And again, this is also a testament to these Evo X bolts too. I really like them. So we're completely clean. You know, another good test for this, if I did think I saw something, you know, a cotton ball or cotton swab up and down will grab any little bit of fiberglass or carbon that's hanging off of your bolts and give you a good idea. So we're looking good, and we're gonna go back and let's kind of take a peek at how sharp these are when we go back, and then we're gonna just shoot shot 13. We're gonna do a little bit of a detailed inspection here. We're gonna just look at all these edges. They really look awesome. Like I said, we have a little bit of small amount of glinting at these very shoulders here. They're taking a lot of punishment here. And that tip, even from the very first shot into the steel drum, we had that little teeny bit of dulling at the tip, but it's still quite pointing, and it has not taken any other damage. The sides of the tip are still at our special same angle. And as I look at this, I thought, you know, let's go ahead and try to cut some paper. Well, it's really humid here today, and my notebook is soaking wet, and I can't get a tough edge. So we're just going to drag across here and see if we can get a little bit of cutting into this paper. It's not the greatest test, but it might just give us a little bit of a metric here of our sharpness. And so as I look at that, you know, we're still maintaining some sharpness here. I mean, it's nothing I would hunt with. I mean, we're only going through a few layers, but we still are fairly sharp. It's a nice clean edge. There's nothing on that edge that's grabbing or ripping or tearing. It is a cut. Again, I would never be happy with that for a hunting scenario, but it is showing you how that new blade angle really is lending itself to edge retention on the K2 fixed. So let's go ahead and keep shooting. I think this is number 13 up next. Okay, so here we are. This was shot number 18. was way over here in the outside. You can see it made another perfect hole, very big. However, one of the secondary blades here took a much bigger bite than the other secondary blade. And so finally, after 18 shots, we broke a blade. So again, this is 59,000 steel that we're using here. The remaining blades here still have no rolling, glinting, chipping, or anything. But after 18 shots, after having gone through the 55-gallon drum lid, and then an additional 18 shots in the 16-gauge diamond plate, we finally did some real damage. And you know, again, we're going to show you always how it happens here at Afflictor. I mean, things break, they have their limits, you know, just like shooting into a brick wall. That's a limitation for most broadheads. So I continue to, no. So we don't have any problem showing you where a failure could possibly happen. And I think after 18 big holes in the plate and the 55-gallon drum lid, we did pretty admirably in this test. So as far as I'm concerned, the K2 is one of the best broadheads in our lineup. It is certainly what many people are using on their high-speed crossbows, and the one that I will continue shooting on my crossbows as well.